good morning, world. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the most amazing Chloe Brennan. Now, I think I could probably sit here and fangirl on Chloe for the whole half an hour, so let's not bother with that and let's just let Chloe introduce herself. Go on, lovely.
Okay, my name is Chloe Brennan. I am probably best known for my strong woman antics, flying around the world and picking stuff up and put it back down. Done all right in that, but I'm also a strength coach. Founded Holistic Strength Coach in 2020, and more recently have founded my new business, Lift Your Limits, which integrates kind of life coaching, NLP, and hypnotherapy. So I just want to help people really and make them their best selves.
Absolutely. And coming from a background of nursing, that's like obviously where you're destined to be, isn't it? You're like drawn towards helping people, which is absolutely amazing. And the same for me. Same for me. Let's chat about how the limitations of training for strength without focusing on the old noggin, because this is where you're passionate at the minute, isn't it? Well, you always have been.
Yeah, for sure. I think I know we spoke about this and like, what should we touch on? What should we talk about? And the first thing I said was like, training is amazing for your mental health, but it can't cover up things that you haven't worked on. So for a long time, like if I talk about my own story, strength training really helped me, and it almost helped me, I would say, like create a new identity. So it was Chloe Brennan, the strong woman, doesn't have to deal with what Chloe has to deal with. And that went on for a long time and it felt amazing. It felt great. And then it kind of comes to a point where you're like, oh, like I need to dig a bit deeper and I need to do a bit more here. Otherwise I'm just going to keep not living a lie, but I'm never going to be fully happy because I'm just putting a plaster over things rather than really digging into it. So I've done my own work and I'm now helping other people to do the same. But I think like mindset work without physical exercise and decent nutrition can only go so far. And strength training without the mindset work can only go so far, which is why that well-rounded approach is so important. And it's something like if I have someone like, I hate the word, but general population come to work with me on my mindset stuff, I'm always going to encourage them to exercise because of the unbelievable benefits that has on how you feel.
Absolutely. I always say you can't help your body without helping your mind, and you can't help your mind without helping your body. The two are absolutely intrinsically linked. You cannot do one without the other. You can start with one, but ultimately to get the best out of that one, you have to help the other side. Like I've worked in directly in coaching now for over 3 years. And the majority of people that I've worked with have come to me for wanting to lose weight. And by the end of the process, the weight loss is actually the tip of the iceberg. It's the icing on the cake. It's all of the other stuff that we've done, getting under people's skin and just sorting out those pesky little inner children that, because that's where a lot of it comes from.
Yeah.
And I know, like, no one really wants to go this deep at 10 o'clock on a bank holiday Monday morning, but like, it goes way back usually.
It's so true. And like what you said then with like the inner child stuff, like I've had a lot of people come to me initially for performance, like wanting to be more confident when they go into competition or kind of settle those nerves. And when you just tap into it in our first session, like not super deep, there's self-limiting beliefs, and it's normally something like fear of failing or not feeling good enough. And that's where like all of their life's problems have stemmed from an event or a series of events when they were really, really young. And it doesn't, like, you don't have to be controlled by that.
No, absolutely. But I think that people tend to push that down, and they push that down so deeply, they don't recognize that as the source in the end. So then to be able to actually deal with it, you've got to dig it all back up again. And once you've opened Pandora's box, you need to keep it open and sort through all the let's not swear in the morning, all the stuff that's inside, and then eventually, like, you end up kind of bulletproof, don't you? You end up kind of like, nothing is gonna get me now. I
Mm,
can't have that. Like, you perform in sport, regardless of whatever sport it is, so much better when your mental health is in a good place.
yeah,
I think
100.
I've got a direct example of that actually, because last year's UKNS final, like, that battle that I had with that 90 kilo stone to get that over that yoke, like, that was like life purpose at that point. But the night before, my my eldest son's dad went into was critically in hospital, and that affected like that entire day's performance. But it wasn't just because he was in hospital; it was all the stuff behind that. And I
Yeah.
think if you've not worked through all those things, like we're saying, then like you're not going to be there on the day if you need to be.
For sure. And I think it's super interesting as well, like while we're on about kind of physical training for mental health, I think there's often a lot of stigma around people talking about mental health. And even though it's something that we say we should talk about and we should talk about what's going on, it's still really difficult. And to like walk into one of our offices just to talk about feelings can feel really, really intimidating. And I think sometimes strength training and like the gym can be a really good arena to get those conversations started. Like, because you'll be going, how are you feeling today? And someone like, oh, I feel really terrible today. Like, this has happened. And it's so much more conversational and casual, but still allows people to talk through and move through anything that they're needing to move through. So I think like the community that can be found within strength training is also really great for our mental health.
Absolutely, absolutely. I work with people across, as you do, across all walks of life, and it's not all within the strength training community. But I find that even talking to people while you're walking or when there's another activity going on. I do a lot of coaching within the neurodiversity sector, and like, it's even more difficult for a neurodiverse person to sit in a room across the table from someone when that is the only sole purpose is looking at that person's face. It's so hard. It's hard for anyone. And I think, like, I have to bring the guys in here because like it's really difficult for guys to in general, because there's that stereotypical, oh no, you have to man up and you have to show your strength and be physically and mentally strong. So it's hard for the guys to, like,
Mm-hmm.
turn around to them and say, how's your mental health today, or what problems are you facing today. It's like, no,
It's too much.
we're not going to go there.
Yeah,
So an additional activity, regardless of what that is, while you're actually helping someone mentally, is godsend.
agreed for sure.
Absolutely. So is that why you chose to go into hypnotherapy then?
Going into hypnotherapy was actually an accident, like many things in my life. So I've wanted to look into life coaching for a long, long time, because when I created holistic strength coaching, that was when I left nursing because I couldn't help people in the way that I wanted to. So there was always an element of like, this isn't just about training, this is about more than that, and trying to boost people's confidence. And over the years, I've seen people literally change their life, go for jobs they didn't think they could get, move out when they didn't think they could, like actually be able to say nice things about themselves. And I was like, I want more of that. So I looked initially into life coaching, and I'd heard a bit about NLP and was curious. So I was like, right, I'll do that. And the course that I looked at that had those two elements also had hypnotherapy. And I literally sat there on the first day of the course and was like, I don't really know what hypnotherapy is about. I'm a bit skeptical of it. I don't really understand it. Honestly, it's just because it's on the course that I'm doing it. So give me your best. And I loved it. Like, I could not believe the power that it has. Even like that first week, I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. And now I think moving forward, it's like at the core of what I do and how I work, because it's just so powerful to be able to not switch off that conscious mind, but turn it down, because we stop ourselves from healing and moving forward so much with that chatter that's right at the front of our mind. And with hypnotherapy, I can turn that volume down and really get in touch with your subconscious, which is where you're going to make the changes. So yeah, the hypnotherapy was never part of the plan, but I love it. And since I've started doing it and working with people alongside the more conscious coaching, I just feel like this is my purpose. This is what I always wanted to do with the nursing. Like, I can really facilitate and drive change with this tool. So an interesting one, yeah, an accident, but a very, very happy accident, I would say.
It's actually very similar to the voice is always going to be there. Like, that, you're not going to actually ever get rid of that voice, but it needs to be a passenger. It needs to not be driving. It absolutely cannot have control over the radio. It's got to be a backseat passenger. And being able to help someone to transform that from that voice being the driver of their life to being in the backseat is I mean, it's so, from a coach's perspective, it's so powerful, isn't it? Because you're like, oh my God, the difference in that person is absolutely incredible. When you watch someone come in and even their demeanor and their body language says, I'm squashed, I'm small, and then you watch them like a couple of months later, shoulders back. I was going to swear again. But, it's, for us, that's so special, isn't it?
It's unreal. And I know that these tools work, but still, every single time I'm sitting with someone and they say something, or like their score changes on a scale of discomfort, and it goes down and they feel better, I'm just like the changes are so significant. It's crazy. And I've just seen in the chat, Harrison Samuel Smith makes me think of mindfulness. Is it similar? And like a lot of people kind of ask, guided meditation and hypnotherapy is quite similar in the way that it's given. Hypnotherapy has definite stages to really get deep. So you want to be in like a theta brainwave state. But the introduction into it is very similar with that kind of it's just really deep relaxation. But the difference with hypnotherapy is that it will have change work in there, where we're really going to be digging into the thing that you want to be working on. So I would say it's done in a very similar way, but the difference is that hypnotherapy is more intentional in kind of shifting that mindset and how you're thinking and behaving.
Yeah, it takes you to a completely different level altogether, doesn't it? It's like mindfulness and that part of hypnotherapy that involves the meditation is almost the surface level entry point to it. So that's your channel to get into the deep stuff, isn't
it? For sure.
I think it's all about, like, it sounds like for you, it was similar for you and for me in going down these avenues to this type of career. Comes from a space where you feel defined by a framework, struggling to like help enough because you're surrounded by this framework and bureaucracy that you can't break out of. So I can imagine for you in this, and like you said, there's only so far you can go, and I can imagine that a lot of things you saw in physical manifestation was as a result of mental health rather than, and that's where we have a tricky time with the NHS, don't we? But and it was the same for me. I worked in social services, so like I could never quite, I went from education into the community thinking I'll be able to do more because I'll be going out to people's homes, etc. But then realizing that you still have the same red tape and you still have the same sort of limitations. So, and that's where you then get to that point. Well, if I can't do it within a network, within a framework, I'm just going to do it myself.
That's it. Yeah, I was in community too. I worked in my kind of the job that I had before I left. I was in CAMHS So child and adolescent mental health, learning disability sector in the community. So worked with social care a lot. And we were all banging heads because we all wanted to help people so much. And you go into these situations and you see people totally helpless. And yes, the patients that I was working with had learning disabilities and mental health kind of challenges, but the effects that had on their families, and their families couldn't access any help, like their parents, their siblings. And it's unreal. And I know I always used to kind of, like when we were in lockdown and it was, you can only go and see a client in person if it's an emergency. Well, I just said everyone was an emergency because to me it was. They needed help and I needed to go and see them. But even then, like, because you have to do so many contacts a day and you can only do it for this time and it's followed by this much paperwork, the actual opportunity to make real change was so limited. And a lot of the time, the people didn't want the help or they weren't ready for the help. And I think in this kind of arena, people are coming to you when they're like, this is either they're really kind of self-aware and want to make the changes or really keen on self-development, or it's like, this is last resort and I really need this to work, so I'm coming with everything. And they give it their all and they get amazing results.
That is precisely the reason why I'm launching a group in July, and the aim of it is to try and plug the gaps that are missing in the community, in the access and support from the system. Like when you will absolutely fully know this, when you work with a family that has neurodiversity or learning difficulties of any sort, like trying to access different parts of the system at the same time is just so hard. So getting in front of educational psychologists, for instance, is like, you can't do that without a battle. If you're doing it through the education system, if you do it privately, it costs a load of money. So the group and the membership that I'm setting up that goes live in July is all about collaboration of all of those different services coming into one space. So I'll have I've got a speech and language therapist set up, I've got a play therapist, I've got a hygienist, I've got educational psychologist, all to come into this one space, so that when, like, the parents, say for instance, or the adults that can't access adult services can go, right, well, I know that there's this person and this person, I can just ask what I need to ask and someone will be able to answer my question without waiting for 18 months,
It's wild. It's so crazy. Like, I've had a couple of clients, so before I even settle what I'm doing now in holistic strength coaching, that had been diagnosed with autism as an adult, and they're just being given this label and then nothing else done. And like, fortunately, it was literally my job to diagnose and then kind of give education on this topic, so I was able to help them through. But I was like, if they weren't strength coaching with me, they would have been given this label and then just gone, off you go, like, without any sense of like, what does that mean for me? Like, so I think what you're doing is like so valuable, so needed.
Why society isn't like that already is beyond me. Like, why do we have to marginalize people in the first place? I am pretty much as nuts as there is. Like, but I haven't got a label. I'll label myself. It's everyone should just be able to access this. But I mean, the good thing is that they are promoting you asking for help now, which is a good thing. But you'll know, having worked with CAMS, that then the system is absolutely inundated and can't cope. So they've promoted the freedom of speech around mental health and any sort of diversity, but they haven't enhanced the infrastructure enough to be able to cope with it. So then it falls to people like us to go, oh my God, there's like, why is nobody doing this bit? So we have to pick up those bits. And sadly,
it's fascinating. I've just started reading a book called Sedated. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's basically like how, I don't know if I'm going off on a bit of a political tangent now, but how capitalism is responsible for like the mental health crisis, and how there's been so many like pharmaceutical developments that in physical health, and how like nowhere near as many people die from cancer and heart disease and the rest of it like they used to, but more people are being diagnosed with mental health disorders. People are more likely to die younger with mental health disorders, more likely to die full stop than ever, despite this, like, it's just so messed up, like how the world is just going backwards in mental health, like talking about it more, but like the services are not matching that. And like it says in the chat here, 3-year waiting list to be seen and diagnosed and hoping for something different, but nothing changes. And that's exactly the system. And I'm really sorry that you've experienced that, because it's like, it just shouldn't be the case.
No, you're absolutely right. I can't see the comments for some reason, so I'm sorry if I'm not.
It's on my Instagram. Yeah, I've shouted out the ones we've had so far, and someone else mentioned used to be with CAMS for ADHD, which obviously that's your route for diagnosis, isn't it? And I know the team I was in had some education, but limited.
Yeah, and it is sad. It is just having nowhere to go to. That's. I mean, there's lots of places to go to for support, but you will always end up never quite getting to the point where you need to get the information that you need. Right, we're ranting now. We're having an official rant. What really boils my is the fact that people don't even know that there's different types of ADHD. So because a person or a child, for instance, is not showing the hyperactivity behaviours, they then, bless them, go under the radar, and it's kind of my mission to make sure that everybody who feels marginalised in any way whatsoever gets to actually learn to advocate for themselves.
Yeah.
Because people don't have the skills or the support to be able to advocate for themselves. And this is partly why I'm doing what I'm doing, and I'm glad you feel as passionately about it as I do. Clearly
absolutely. In the chat, it just says the biggest support I need is the support to go and get the support, if that makes sense. And follow Max if you don't already, because it sounds like your program will be perfect for that. If you've been feel let down by the NHS, it's going to be a good.
Absolutely, well, that's the hope. It gives people somewhere to go. I've even said as part of it, like how often do you meet people who have like a hyperfixation on, there is that hyperfixation, but people can't get into it as much as you can. So like people will be kind and people will go, oh yeah, that's great, but half an hour later it's, you still want to talk about it and they don't. So even part of it is like having a channel for hyperfixation, so someone can like really get into it and someone else is going to go, oh, I totally get that, so it's not just the negative side of it, it's the celebratory side of it, and it's the that it's okay, and you don't even have to come and go, I need help. It's I'm going to come because there's people who get it.
Yeah, I'm understood.
So what's next for you then, Chloe? I'm just going to pop up. I have for anyone in my following who wants to follow Chloe, here are her.
Look at this. It's so good.
Yay! I make myself look tech savvy, not really. So how long did it take us to get on, Chloe? It was a bit of
we got there though, we're here.
We did. So if you're particularly interested in Chloe's hypnotherapy side, then there is your page to follow. And the strength side is Chloe's Insta here. And Chloe herself.
All over your life here.
One page is not enough to handle. Chloe has 3. Oh, and here's my dog. This is Willow the Wonder Dog, everybody. She is training to be a therapy dog. And she helps my in-person and neurodiverse clients. And I often don't get a look in for at least the first 15 minutes because it's all about looks and kisses, isn't
That's amazing. If Gus was in my sessions, it would be absolute carnage. People wouldn't want to come back.
Oh, all animals are amazing. For just, they don't argue back, do they?
No.
Well, actually,
well, I don't know. Gus
does. Is there anything else that you wanted the people watching this on replay? Is there anything else you wanted them to know?
I don't think so. I will plug my little. I'm launching a group in. It's launched. I'm starting it in June, so it's going to be a 4-part series. It's called the Confidence Collective. Just people who have never quite felt good enough. They're always told they're good at something, but can't quite get through, and feel like they're being something stopping them from moving forwards to where they know they can be. So this program is kind of set out to scooch away those beliefs and really step into the confidence and make actions so that you do take the steps. It's not just wishy-washy, like we're going to be making a plan. So yeah, a little plug there for that. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really excited for it.
That sounds amazing, and I will be sharing everything that you put on social media about that, because I think it is tremendously important. I'll plug myself then. I have because my group is not going live until July. I do have an active wait list ready for that. So if anyone wants to get on the wait list for that, what I have done is I have a link that I'll send out. But what I ask people to do is actually tell me within this link what they want to see within the group as well. So this is not just for me to build this group for people to come to. This is a community and a collaboration for people to actually have a say. What do they want it to look like? What do they want in it? I have my vision, but everybody else's view is welcome. So if you would like to jump on the wait list for that group, just give me a little DM or put a comment in, either mine or Chloe's, and we'll get you on the way. I'll send you the link for that. Oh my God, how has that been? Half an hour?
It's flown. Time flies when you're having fun. Or when you get on a rant.
Yes. Who doesn't love a good rant though, let's face it.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for agreeing to join me today.
Thanks for having me.
Pleasure. And I look forward to catching up again, and anything you are bringing out and doing, just tag me and I will push it all out there as well.
Thank you.
Fabulous. Thank you, everybody. If I have missed any comments or anything, I will come back to you, I promise. And speak to you all soon. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.